My name is Kent McCullough. I'm the head football coach at Turpin High School. I'm here to talk to you today about special teams specifically at Turpin. We have a very unique culture at Turpin, and we talk about our special teams being our winning edge and how we take advantage of the third of the game that sometimes coaches maybe don't take advantage of. This past season, we were 10-1, won the conference championship. Didn't stay healthy, and it's what we got beat in the playoffs by a good team. But we definitely implemented our special teams in a way that could help us win games with blocking kicks, with returns. It's a lot of fun, and whenever you're the head coach, D coordinator, special teams are very important to make sure things get done the right way. So I'm going to jump right into it. This is kind of a little bit of my background of where I'm from and what I've done, and special teams have always been a part of my background. Every place that I've coached at, I either worked with the kickers or punters or ran the special teams, coordinated the special teams. As I've gotten a little bit older, it's gone into my 20th year as a coach and 10th year as a head coach. I had had a lot of great mentors over the years to help me out with my background. Philosophy-wise, from a special team standpoint and everything, a couple of the ones that I want to hit up real quick are the ones that I've highlighted that I think are very, very important for every program, successful special teams. Number 5, achieving 100% kick protection on special teams play, no block kicks throughout with field goals, punts. That's huge right there. It's a momentum changer, either from a field goal perspective where you just got a touchdown, they block that. That could be a 1 point swing back and forth, at the end of a game, and block punts. They're momentum changers. They're huge. Another one is 6, where we emphasize the punt and kickoff teams that gain advantage in field position. Basically, being the D coordinator, I always love it when offenses have to go for a long field on kickoff. We do some unique things in our kickoff to kind of gain advantage because I don't have a kicker that can put it out of the end zone every single time. Punt-wise, I got a really good punter. He's a two-time first-team All-ECC punter. Got a big leg on him. He makes my life a lot easier for what he can do. Number 7, develop an attitude within your special teams that is aggressive, that will create game-changing plays. Be special. You make it an emphasis as a head coach, like Frank Beamer did at Virginia Tech. You make it an emphasis. You make it special. The kids will buy in. Special teams are a third of the game. They will be special. I can't say that enough. Being the head coach and making it important, everything, the kids are buying into that. We'll work on special teams daily. Will always be the emphasis of special teams because it is our edge. We don't have the biggest kids. We don't have the fastest kids. We got smart kids. We got tough kids, and we're going to gain an advantage in that area. A couple things from an expectation standpoint. Punt teams, like I already said, no blocks, change the field. Kickoff teams, no big returns, set the field inside the 20. Field goal team, no blocks, get points. Punt return, blocks, returns. And I'll talk about this when I later got read. Do you have a dude? Return game is always about having somebody back there. If you have somebody back there, the guys, they make it happen up front. They do. Kickoff return, no onside kicks, no recoveries like that, and also trying to get a plus 35 every single time. I think, as we know, and the coaches have seen it over the years, the the closer you're starting towards your the end goal, the end zone, the higher percentage you get points. And I think it's important that the kickoff return team, the other team just scored one way or another. If you gain that advantage back, you're going to put yourself in a great position. Field goal block, I think you got to put pressure every single time. I think you put pressure on them to high school snappers, holders, kickers, punters. You got to some way put pressure on them because they're not that accurate. They're not that consistent. And you can get a block, you can get a tip, maybe a shank, whatever it might be. That's how you gain your advantage from there. Spring drills. A lot of things I'm going to talk about today are the drills we use from a program perspective that are and I think it's a great time to talk about it with what we're dealing with as a country right now. When we do get our kids back, instead of just throwing them on the line and making them do sprints, these are a lot of special team drills that we're going to do from a conditioning standpoint, from a football standpoint, that are going to help us make our team better, our conditioning better, and then also our special teams better. So I'll go right down the list, and these are things that we do in the springtime and throughout the summer. They're competition drills, which are great. They're teaching drills, which are great. That allow our kids to develop better special teams, but also be better football players too. One of the things, number 1, kicking, punting, snapping, return circuit. We get into this at least twice a week during the season, and we also get into it during the summertime. So our kickers and punters get work on a regular basis. And it gets to the point in the summertime where when we're not in our 10 days that are allocated to us, our kids just go right out where they need to be once they get done with workouts. I go back in my office and get some work done, and they get some extra snapping, holding, and kicking done. Because kicking is like a golf swing. You got to rep it, you got to rep it, you got to rep it. Plus, during this time period, if you don't have a kicker, if you don't have a punter, this is your experimental time period during your 10 days to find those guys. Who's your JV punter? Who's your varsity? Whatever it might be. And you might just, I'm not about waiting to the season to find a kicker. You got to find a kicker in the summertime. You got to find a kicker, a punter, and you go find a guy that's going to be able to help you out to make your special team special. Plus, if you find out that maybe you need to find a guy, there's an opportunity to kind of practice with him over the summer to get him ready to go. So that's one of the things that we do. We do it, and during the season, we do it every Monday and every Wednesday. We have our special team circuit. The kids jump right in it. We do 10 minutes. We kind of roll it from there. Okay. Each coach, I have every coach involved in something. As you can see, I got the kickers and punters. Receivers coach got the holders. Running backs got the returners. O-line, D-line, O-line quarterbacks, it's an indie period for them, getting their guys warmed up. D-line's an indie period. Linebackers coach takes care of the snappers. Any extra coach, they're doing ball drills with the kids. So everyone's involved in doing something, and it really allows for a lot of reps to get done. So one thing is I put on there, this kicker came in this past year and everything, had an up and down. He was taking over for a kid who was a first-team all-guy, came in. We worked with him throughout the summertime, made some big kicks for us, and it was a kid who, just had some struggles, had some shanks, but during his junior and senior year, man, he stepped up and got it done for us. And it allowed me to recognize what maybe his deficits were early, and I could practice them because of that circuit that we did. Okay, next thing we do is cover drills. Like I said, I'm also the defensive coordinator, so these are basically called tracking drills that we like to do with our guys to get them from a conditioning standpoint, but then also from a standpoint of playing good defensive football and putting yourself in the right position. I've always said 80% of tackling is putting your guy in the right position. The other 20% is the weight room. So we do a lot of tracking drills to allow our guys to be in the right position every single time they make a tackle. So once one-on-one drill, you got an offensive guy, defensive guy. They're basically bottom of numbers, the sidelines. So you can get a lot of reps with this. And this was kind of a springtime work that we had with us and everything with our guys getting some work in. And they're basically a lot of reps, pressing them, come to balance, tagging off on the hips. A chance, everyone gets involved. Offensive, defense, O-line, D-line. They get a lot of reps in, and you can rapid fire this stuff. We talk about pressing, we about attacking the hips, tagging off, and your opportunity, you can run 4 lines at a time. 4 lines at a time to be able to get a lot of reps and be able to get these kids to be in the right position to be able to make a tackle. So again, a lot of our drill work might start off in a closed area, and then as you'll see with the progression of this, our kids get further and further apart, just like they're a real game situation. So I kind of buzzed through some of these to kind of talk about it, but right there's our starting Mike linebacker, does a great job of being under control, balancing, stepping, and tagging off on the hip. He finished this year with about 150 tackles. And I think one of these drills that we're doing kind of help out with that. So this kind of helps out a little bit with the season we had from those season reps from here, and I'll kind of take this over. Right here in the middle of the screen is our Will linebacker. He does a great job of sprinting down the field, coming to balance, being under control, and doing a great job of getting in this returner's face and allowing his buddies to rally to him from there. Does a great job getting him to break it down, tag off. Right there, got the tackle inside the 20. And it's a great, like I said, you took the small group perspective of the one-on-one, and then you bring it into the whole team perspective of a nice little kickoff right here to start the season and tackle inside the 20-yard line. You can't beat that. Okay. Next thing we do, now we develop, but we have the one-on-one, and now we're moving to a 2-on-1. Okay. So again, 2 guys, we talk about 2 things we use. We talk about who's the force and who's the fold. Who's the force and who's the fold. So I'll jump right into the drill work because it's kind of a drill that I picked up where you got basically 2 defensive guys. And to make this an easy rotation, the guy that's running the ball, after he goes to this cone right here. This guy goes, he slides over this cone, this guy goes in the line. So it's a quick rotation. Again, another opportunity to get a lot of reps in. You get them in a controlled environment, and they get to work on where's their force at. Am I the force or am I the fold? Okay. So this guy comes right here. This is a great example of force and fold. This guy comes the runs presses to the defense's right. So now this guy over here is my force player. He's going to attack that outside shoulder right here and force the ball player back into his help that's coming right there. He is now the fold player. He's not going to go screaming right at the guy. He wants to come across and get under control, because when this guy forces him, he's going to look the cut back right inside, and he's going to put himself in the right position. The one thing I talk about with these guys, whenever they do it, they got to press. They got to press, because nothing's worse than both guys being in position and the guy splits them. This is a great example. Who's the force, the fold, force him back inside. Okay. Here's another example. Force and fold. Okay. That's a great example of the guy on defensive player right here. I wish he would press it a little bit more at that hip, but he comes a little flat. But one thing he does is he adjusts. He bounces back out to make sure the ball carrier goes one way and one way only, and that's right there inside. He's the force. He's the fold into the right position. You can get a lot of reps with this stuff. Again, it's helping your defense and helping your special teams. Okay, even one of my big offensive linemen right here getting involved in it, having some fun. Okay, centers need to know how to tackle. They need to know how to tackle. Interceptions occur, fumbles occur. They got to get involved in it too. Don't think that they're not a part of the equation either. Okay. One thing I also say too is, in this perspective, you get to work on, from an offensive perspective, you get to work on breaking tackles. You get to work on a guy learning how to cut, how to move, working on right now, nice little chin position of the ball right there. So as much as it work in defensive special teams, you're also finding out maybe who your returners are. You're also finding out who are the playmakers that you might be able to have on offense. This is a young freshman right here. He's going to be a special kid. Okay, dance a little bit too much right now. He's used to junior high football where you get to dance a little bit. You learn at the high school level, you can't do that too much. Okay, it's a nice job right here. A good force, fold it back in. Nice job attacking. Okay, this is an example of a game in one of our games this past year. Punt team getting down the field. Again, who's the force? Who's the fold? No return. No return. That's a nice job. That's a nice job right there of the guys being aggressive, getting down the field, and attacking the right leverage spot on the particular returner. Attacking the outside shoulder, force him inside. I don't mind that he missed that tackle, because he made that returner bounce a little bit, made him slow down, and allowed everyone to kind of rally to the party. Okay. Next thing, a cover drill involving basically two guys again, but now instead of them starting off and basically 10 yards apart, now they're going to be pressing and getting down the field. Again, still looking on force and fold, but now you're expanding the small group setting. And now, again, I'll be the first one to say it. These are drills on bad days. You can get in the gym. You can do them. You can do them on the field. You can do them kind of any kind of group you're at. The quarterbacks get to work on some throwing a little bit. But now, instead of my special teams and my defensive guys, they're now getting in a position where they get to kind of now get down the field, press at the right angle, come to balance, and tag off. Okay. Again, a situation where quarterbacks, again, everyone's involved in these drills. Quarterbacks are throwing. My returners are working on the return game of catching the ball, working on pressing, forcing the ball. Okay. This is an offensive lineman doing a good job right there of bringing the body back down. I'd like to have seen him attack the outside shoulder a little bit more, but that's something that he can get better at. Hopefully, not too many times my offensive linemen are going to have to be in that position, but at least they're going to be coached up on it. Again, coming down, force, it's a great job. Force and fold. This is a great example right here. This is two defensive linemen we got working together. What I like about the one kid down the bottom left, he does a great job of getting down the field. And when he does that, he starts to come to bounds. And once the returner presses this direction, he pops outside. He knows where his buddy's at. Okay. Once this guy the one thing I'd like from the other guy, though, is once this guy starts breaking this way, I need to see him folding across the screen to be in a better leverage angle. But he pops outside, forces him side, and then he guys in a great position to tag off on that. That's a good job, too, a good partner tackle. I really like the way this guy finished the drill. Great job of pressing, tagging off on the hip, palms up. That's a great good work right there. Okay. Carried over to the game. Same thing on punt team. Getting down the field, pressing it. Who's my force? Who's my fold? Force the ball back inside. Got nowhere to run. Again, taking drills and having them apply to what you want done on the field. A lot of times guys are like, oh, my kid just knows how to do this, or my kid should know he's the force player. But you got to coach it up. And you do it in a small group setting. You do it in the classroom. And it allows these kids to develop that mindset that special teams are special, because there's an emphasis every single day on what we're doing. Another one of our cover drills, tracking drills, you want to call it, is a 4-man cover drill. Okay, now this is really, again, what we just saw from a team perspective, but now you have the 2 people working together. Now we have 4 people working together. So how we do this one is we get into our 10 days, and we got quarterbacks, kickers, and now we have 4 guys all working together. Okay, and so now if the returner comes this way, these 2, again, are the force players. Now these 2 are the fold players. Okay, and it allows us to get a lot of people involved, and we actually make it a competition where the first guy to tag off on the returner, he becomes the new returner. Okay, and it allows it to make it a competition, allows it for fun for the kids and everything. So again, weather's not the best outside. You can get into the gym. You guys get guys working on this stuff, and you're getting some conditioning involved. You're getting a good football IQ stuff going with this. A lot of great stuff that's going to help you as a program develop your special teams, but also develop the fundamentals of the game. It's a pretty good job right here. My only coaching point right here is going to be the guy on the bottom left right here. Okay, he folds in very fast. I want to see him pressing forward before he starts folding in. If you fold too soon, you create a lane on the other side. There we go, getting down there. Who's the force? Who's the fold? When they got down the field was this guy to the left right here. Does a great job of, once he sees that the guy's pressing back to his left, he jumps back outside and attacks his outside shoulder. Okay? And the one thing I really like is how aggressive my inside guys are right here. You got the guy's force. He's folding right now. He's forcing, but these 2 still stay very aggressive to pressing the guy and pressing the right angle on him to be able to make the tackle. Again, finding ways, as we've learned as high school coaches, finding ways to get creative with the drills that we're doing. No matter if you can get on the field, not on the field. I think it's great stuff that I've picked up over the years from different coaches to add to the special team mix, and also add from a program standpoint of making us better. It's a great job of forcing it, pressing them, and not giving them anywhere to run. Okay. Carry over to the game and everything. Again, the implementation of trying to get the big picture into the games does a great job of us getting down the field right here. See a lot of people rallying right around the ball. Who's force, who's folding everything. You guys got nowhere to run. Great job of, when you're seeing a nice little herd of your colors, this returner is not feeling too good about his situation right now. This guy is forcing the ball back and 3 more to go. He's not really has anywhere to go work. And that's a great job of avoiding bending, ripping, and getting where they need to get to in this regards. Another tackle inside the 20. Okay, it wasn't a great kickoff. It was more of a line shot, but we did a great job avoiding getting down the field and pressing the returner at the right angle and not giving him anywhere to run. Good work on their part. Okay, another strict drill. It's called kickoff cover drill and everything. Basically, one thing that we always start doing is, once we felt comfortable with our kickers, with their legs and everything, you got to get an idea of what you got from a kickoff standpoints. And so one of the things that we did is we always start off with a takeoff drill with first day of install and kickoff, takeoff drill right out of the gates, getting them going in their regards of getting down the field, but they need to time up everything with the kicker. And new rules where you have to have your foot inside the 35 to the 40-yard line. It's not too complicated to get going, but as we know, nothing's worse than doing a great job on kickoff and then being called for offsides. Little things like that is what we talk about in our program, that we do the best we can to avoid hurt, self-inflicting wounds. The bottom line I got down here, and so I always believe this on a kickoff team: beat them with your speed, and it starts with the timing, with the takeoff drill. But we're going to beat them with our speed as we get down the field. Start with a little takeoff, 10-yard burst, make it a competition. Then second level, through the opposite 35. So we're just trying to get the timing through the 50 and then the timing through the 35 and make it a competition. You find out who your cover guys can get because they can get down the field. And then we do the full man drill that we do, tagging off on the returner with proper leverage and everything. So you're piecing together your kickoff team because, you know, a 60-yard burst over and over again in practice wears those kids out. And that's what we're trying to do. Let's be efficient with our time. Okay. This is a great example of timing. This is one of the games, again, we love to kick the ball deep and everything, but I always consider kickoff team almost like a pitcher at major league level. We got to throw some curveballs and some changeups involved in that one. And we've done bloop kicks, squib kicks. I'm more of a proponent of bloop kicks than squib kicks because I've had some squib kicks come back at me right away. With that ball in the air, it buys time for us to get down the field. But you got to find a kicker, and this is what comes back to that first drill I showed you about working through your kickers and finding out what you got in springtime and summer. Well, can they do this stuff? And this was a guy that, you know, has come around. He'll be back next year doing our kickoffs and long field goals. It's also our starting running back, so we got to be careful with him. But does a great job of we do a great job of timing this up. He does a great job hitting this perfectly, and that's an extra possession right there. Okay. In this game right here, and this is my mindset, we're up 21-0 in this game right now. 21-0 in this game, and everyone would think, well, just kick it deep, go back to your normal deal. Well, I'm trying to not get in to give them any momentum. So what am I going to do? I'm going to pooch my kick, get the ball back, and we're up 28-0. You don't want to, you do the best, in my opinion, everything's about momentum, and I don't want to give them any momentum, and I want to keep our momentum going in the right direction. So I recommend all the time, mix up your kickoffs like you're a major league pitcher. Okay. Also a big fan, like I said, this squibs I'm not a big fan of, but this was another kicker we got. There he hits a pretty mean, basically squib where it's all over the place. Should have recovered this one. You know, it was basically for a taking, but nothing like offensive. You make a lot of offensive coordinators and head coach happy if you recover the ball on the other team's 3-yard line. But like I said, being kind of that major league pitcher mindset, change ups, curveballs, whatever you can do. Keep that. Kickoff returns an offensive play. It's all about timing. If you mess up their rhythm, you're going to put yourself in a better situation of that, creating that long field for them to work with. But you got to find a kicker to be able to do this stuff. Okay. Kickoff cover drill. This is now where we're talking about the bend and rip. We're talking about the two gap. We're talking about the tackle piece. We go through it a couple ways. We avoid beating them with speed, bend and rip, getting back in a stacked position. We talk about the two gap in it where the thumbs are up, bench pressing the guy back and then patching off one way or another. And it's really important about the two gap phase where it says push the car. We want that guy being driven back with the thumbs up to create separation. You're going to get that. But I tell the guys, here's the deal. It depends on how close the returner is. If you're going to two gap and push the car and get off, or you can just bend and rip and avoid and get right by the guy. If you got space to work with, you can avoid and get by him again and get to the returner. If you don't have space, you got to two gap that stuff, just like you're an outside linebacker setting the edge in the defense. So all those things that you talk about from a defensive standpoint, use the same terminology when you get to your special teams, and the kids will understand that a lot faster. Okay, so this is another one. Your chance to do inside. There's your avoid. There's your two gap. There's your tackle. Okay, and then the rotation we got right here. Okay, it's an easy rotation. The guy that's going from the avoid phase, the guy that's doing it, he becomes the running back. Running back slides up to the two gap phase. Two gap signs up to the avoid phase. And to make things clean, right out of the gates, we just say, hey, avoid guy, turn to the right. Returner, go to the right. And then we come back and we go to the left. Just little things like that to allow your practice to go smoother. So you get a lot of reps and kind of go from there. So there's your avoid, there's your two gap, patch off and go. Okay. There's your rotation. You can see how we're going to rotate up. We're going to have rotate up. Getting a lot of reps, a lot of people involved. Okay. A lot of people. Bend and rip. There's your two gap, driven back, tackle off. Okay. Again, it's defensive football, but we got right now, we can work on kickoff. We're working on punt. We got everyone involved in this to get a lot of reps by everybody. We do this in the springtime. We do this during our 10 days. And you know what? Every once in a while during camp or even during the season, I'll dust it off just to make sure we keep these fundamentals sound throughout the year. Void, two gap, and get off. Okay, I'm going to bump up a little bit till we get to the rip phase. Void, raise your avoid again. Because see the difference with this drill right now is you're going to get space. Okay, you're going to get down to this returner. And when you get down to this returner, you got some time to avoid. And you can see that there's space. There's space right now. I have time to get by this guy to get where I need to get to. It's not like the returner's right in that hip pocket of that blocker. That's something that kid has to recognize. That's, again, talking about football IQ with our kids and understands when they can do stuff and when they can't do stuff. What's for the bank? Because last thing you want is somebody gets out of a gap on kickoff, somebody gets out of his gap on punt, and now you got a big return, and now you're in trouble from there. Okay? All right, I'm going to bump this up to our next drill. Okay, this is one of my favorite drills. I picked this one up from Mark D'Antonio a long time ago. It's our 6-second competition. Okay, this is another one where now we're getting some punt return and some kickoff return elements involved in it. And also you're thrown into offensive linemen get work, defensive linemen get work when it comes to a pass rush, pass protection standpoint. It's a simple drill where you got an offensive guy and a defensive guy and a cone at the bottom of numbers. And that defensive guy's got 6 seconds to get to that cone. And an offensive guy is going to do everything he possibly can and not let the guy get there. Okay, our kids love this drill because it's competition. They get to compete against each other. There you go. And you're getting great work by kids. They're getting a chance to compete. Okay, like I said, defensive guys get to work on their pass rush. Offensive guys get to work on their pass protection. But the other side of it, too, this is basically punt return. You're doing a hold-up technique. You're doing kickoff return technique. Doesn't have to be a devastating block. All it has to be is guy right in his business. Get involved in what he's doing. Okay? This is an O lineman versus a D lineman. But that O lineman right there, he might be involved on safe during punt return. You know, there's a lot of things that he could do that's going to help you out from a program standpoint. Getting guys, really the only guys I really don't ever get involved in too much of stuff is the quarterbacks because you got to keep those guys special. Okay, but everyone else, man, they're involved in every one of these drills. A lot of times during our springtime, we'll get done with our weight room work and go up on the field. And we'll just get after it for a little bit, and the kids love to do that. And people get worried about, hey, what about banging heads? Our guys have learned from playing in proper technique and proper leverage and stance, they're not going to have any worse. And every time I've done this drill, it's never been an issue. Okay? These are two young pups getting after it and everything, which is always good. You know, getting them to learn to be physical. Okay? So this is one of our half block, half holdups that we ran. And like I said before, when it comes to a return game, it's always good to have a special kid back deep. And we found this kid during our evaluation process during the summer on our 10 days. And his senior year, he had 2 kickoffs returned for touchdowns and a punt return for a touchdown. But the drill I'm talking about, a lot of great holdups on this side over here. Okay, and a lot of good techniques in the sense of making sure we're blocking. We are blocking guys in the right position, so we're not avoiding this type of. Again, does a great job by 11, turn around and wheel and get upfield, and he gets another 15 yards. Don't do self-inflicting wounds. All right, so kickoff return perspective, we got a 6-second competition, same drill, but now we're adding an angle drop to it. Okay, so this is your kickoff return aspect. Drop it at an angle. Sitting down underneath it, wheeling around, same thing. 6-second competitor.
Here we go. On you, Tony. 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005.
There you go.
Here we go.
Just keeping people involved and also working on that technique. I've always been a big believer, like I said in the beginning, about kickoff and punt being the 2 most important ones. Kickoff return and punt return, first and foremost, find a guy back deep that can catch every single ball and get what you can get. On the other side of it, teaching these techniques of the blocking up front is very important that we do it, because it doesn't have to be a devastating block, but you got to get your hands on people.
1001, 1002, 1003, 1004.
There you go. That's good work. That's good work right there.
No lineman to run never on kickoff return.
There you go.
1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005.
There you go. It's good technique. Good job right there by those guys. Okay. So like I said, it doesn't have to be a devastating block. I've always been a big fan of sideline returns. And like I said, we had a kid last year that was pretty special back deep. So not a devastating block, but we got a crease, we got a seam, and let the kid do his thing. But we need, how you create that seam and that crease? By guys just staying on their guys, by being a 6-second competitor. You know, I'll be the first one to say it's not perfect, but guess what? When you have a dude back deep, it doesn't need to be perfect. Guess what? It just needs to be good enough. Okay. One of my favorite drills is working on blocks is the hoops. A lot of guys do it. A lot of D linemen do it and everything. We talk about running that circle and making a little figure 8 action where you're chasing a guy. It's a great drill to do during the summertime from a conditioning standpoint. But the carryover or field goal block standpoint is that corner learning how to run that edge and run that hoop. Okay. And then you get the D line and O lineman on the sled where they can work on their middle pushes. We have basically 2 blocks on our field goals. We have a field block and a middle block. The D linemen, linebackers, they're working on that middle push when they're getting on that sled. Our corners and our safeties, they're working on running that hoop and running that edge with our field block. So again, something like that right there, you know, to me, it's a nice little thing that you're involving stuff. But in something, people are like, man, I do these drills all the time. I'm like, it's great. Make it a special teams emphasis, though. Say we're doing this drill for this reason. And the kids will understand that. And then you get that carryover when you install that special team with that guy, those group of guys. And like, hey, remember we were running hoops over the summer? Same thing right now. Run that hoop, dip that inside shoulder, dip that inside knee, and get around that wing to be able to get pressure on the block. This was right here. This was one of our blocks on punt return and everything. Number 7, hopping around, pop out, become a little twist action, times it up and everything, comes through scot-free. Okay. To me, it's important that we're putting pressure on that punter every single time. And that's a nice job of him coming around, lining up on one side, running that hoop, coming around, bending it, cutting across, getting his hands on. We have to condition their bodies to do specific stuff. And you're conditioning their body during the summertime, getting them ready for the season, you might as well make an emphasis with special teams. Okay. This was a field block right here. And the kid missed it, but I like what we did right here. Coming off the edge hard in the B gap, the C gap, and up the edge right there. We get our hands on it and everything, nice and close. I wish the kid would have kept his hands together and everything. But it's a great job of running the hoop, running the edge. D linemen, safety, linebackers, we're right in that kicker's face. I'm telling you, man, it messes. I've been a kicker. I don't like it when people are by my feet. All right, so one of the last things I want to talk about was how we install our special teams. And I think it's kind of, people want to go, well, you do talk about a lot of stuff that you do and everything, but how do you install it? And so during our July mini camp, our June mini camp is a lot of evaluation on who we have: kickers, punters, holders, returners, long snappers, all that fun stuff. When we come back in July with our 5 days, we're installing punt and kickoff. They marry together, and all that drill work that we've done over the summer and everything is going to allow us to jump into these special teams pretty quickly. During our August camp and everything, field goal block really does not take us that long to get that installed, because you've already taken care of the key pieces: your snapper, your holder, and your kicker. The return game is kind of where we jump into it last. And the reason why we jump into it last, because we're trying to find a dude back deep. But we also get into August and want to do a lot of stock blocking drills with our DBs and our receivers and our, on the edge type of things. And that's kind of what we're getting going with that too, is with the stock blocking from there. So once we kind of evaluate our talent in that regards, then we kind of jump into our return game. We've already worked on blocks. We've already worked on holdups. So it's really just installing that stuff from there. Again, all the drills that we've done so far and everything allow us to install this stuff pretty quickly because you've already taught the techniques and now just really installing the X and O's piece. Our specialty stuff, then they got to step install. And we actually do a day in camp where we have a special teams practice where it's installing your hands team, razzle dazzle, like at the end of the game, and you just have like your best 11 skill guys on the field, like the Stanford versus Cal. The kickoff team do an onside kick, a punt, take a safety, any kind of fakes we want to put in, punt return, free kick, safe, things like that. Field goal if we're going to do muddle huddle that year, field goal block, alignment to muddle huddle. We have a practice that I kind of see when we're going through camp that we just need a day where we're going to work on from an offensive standpoint, 2-minute or 4-minute offense. Our defense working on Hail Mary, prevent, things like that. A day that all those things that kind of you need to cover and you have a day to do it. Well, it's basically a Thursday practice that we do one day where we install the stuff, and we do it probably during the second week of camp is when we kind of jump right into that one. This is our normal game week stuff. Monday, kicking circuit, field goal block, 5 minutes of each. So 20 minutes of special teams on Monday. Come back on Tuesday, punt and punt return, 10 minutes of each. Wednesday, kicking circuit for 10 minutes, and then we have kickoff return from there 20 minutes. So everything about 20 minutes every single day is going into special teams. Thursday, everything our pregame routine of out there, kickers, first group's out, kickers, punters warm up, just like we would do dress rehearsal for Friday night. I'm a big believer in involving all the coaches in what we're doing. Makes it an emphasis. So field goal, offensive line coach and everything, he's kind of like the ringleader of it. He'll break down all of the field goal blocks. And on Sunday we talk, I kind of want to know what we're getting into. And we kind of talk about it and kind of line some things up. Quarterback, this time period where if they're not the holders, they've got skill work with the quarterback's coach. Receivers got the holders. Running backs coach got the tight ends and wings. O-line coach got the offensive line. Linebackers coach has the long snappers. I got the kickers. D-line coach does the scout field goal block. Any extra players are working on any extra players or with those extra coaches doing a distraction drill. You got to test your kicker, and nothing's worse than getting into a big game and not sure if your kicker is going to be ready to go. We do a lot of once your field goal gets installed, we get a lot every day at the end of practice. Might do a May Day where they're running onto the field and have it as time's winding down, or setting up a game winner. You got to put your kickers in those tough situations in practice. Last thing you want is for a 17-year-old kid that's never been in a pressure situation get thrown into the fire, and you're not sure how he's gonna work out. We move the ball. A lot of times as we install, we might start on a line with field goal, but then every time after that, the ball is on a hash and it's not on a line. Why? Because you want to see if that field goal team is in a straight line or if it's going to start bowing back because people aren't lining up properly. And then you get called for an illegal procedure, an illegal formation, and those 3 points are off the board, and then maybe you're punting or something else from there. You got to teach the fire call. You got to teach a longer kick, how to cover down. Coaching point, any block kick, get on it. And I tell guys all the time, I'm like, hey, if the ball's blocked behind the line of scrimmage or it crosses the line of scrimmage, we have to recover. Field goal block, again, everyone's involved in one way or another, okay? Defensive line coach kind of gives me what kind of things we're dealing with. Are we dealing with muddle huddle, or are we dealing with just a regular field goal team? But what type of formation are you going to give me? Okay, and then the other part of it too is every defensive coach is involved mainly coaching their position. And the offensive guys, they're giving me a look, or they got individual time period, but there's nobody standing around. Again, talk about muddle huddle. The corners, in our program, the corners are in charge of offsides, onside. They look down the line and they got to give a thumbs up to the opposite corner so nobody's lined up in the right position and they're in control. Coaching points that we always talk about from field goal block, ball crosses the line of scrimmage, get away from it. Peter call, ball's behind the line of scrimmage, you better get on it. And we talk about a country fumble and a city fumble in the program. And we teach country fumble and a city fumble period in our program period that happens during our normal practice week. We have program periods where we're specifically working on takeaways, tackling, block destruction, whatever it might be is an emphasis of we're trying to get done from a program standpoint. And everybody in the program knows how to do a city fumble, but only the defensive guys practice a country fumble because from an offensive standpoint, if that ball's laying on the ground, you just want to get it back. You don't want to scoop and score. But that's what we talk about in our programs. Everyone knows That's why when we step on a field, I always feel like we're very prepared because we've coached this stuff up. Okay, this was one of our games and everything where you get a bad snap. Okay, well, the block was coming from, as you can see, the block was coming from we brought a field left right here. Okay, there's the ones that continue to pressure. Everyone should be staying in coverage on their guys. Number 7's right there to make the tackle. Well coached. Is it perfect? No, but it's well coached, and the guys make a play to be able to stop from something bad happening for them, and then something in return coming back to us. Okay, the guys do a great job of doing what they're supposed to do and getting coached up and in the right spots, and not letting them get more points on the board, and then we get off the field. This is an example of our Thursday practice, how we have everything laid out. From a kickoff return, we basically try to simulate it as best we can like a game, and then we have each coach has their responsibility all laid out. I've been a lot of the places I've been at and everything, man. I picked up this stuff when I was a GA at the University of Missouri coaching linebackers and working on special teams. And when we hit the field, I want every coach knowing what they're doing, knowing what they're involved in. I don't want standing around. I like up-tempo. We like to get after it. We have a lot to cover on a Thursday in a short amount of time, and you can see every coach has got their responsibility and what they're doing and what they need to do. And we try to, as best we can, to get everything done. And by week 3, when we get into conference play, week 3, week 4, it's a well-oiled machine on a Thursday. Here's my information, everything. If anybody wants to reach out with me, my school email address right there laid out. If you want to touch base, if you want to basically reach out to me any way you want to, Twitter-wise, or just give me a call. But to me, I love what I do. I love the profession that we're in. It's been an opportunity during these kind of strange times to kind of step back a little bit and kind of watch some other guys and what they're doing, and it's exciting stuff. So I hope in some way or another this kind of helped everybody out, man. And appreciate the time, man. Have yourself a great day and good luck this season.